Abby's View. The Girl with No Name. That is the name of the story that the crows had been relaying to one another that fine day. A story that had been going on for a very long time, and one in which the end was yet to come. This was a story that had been passed on from generation to generation, and one that the crows treated almost as sacred. I have quite a good memory, but this was an epic story. It went something like this. Once upon a time, long, long ago, there lived a little girl in a dell beneath the black walnut forest. This little girl was a special little girl, as she had no mother or father. I don't mean she didn't have a mother and father right now, as we pick up the story. This little girl was very, very special, for she had not mother and father ever, at all. Never, ever, ever had she any parents. Some of the problems this may have caused this dear child are obvious, and I am sure many of you are already thinking aloud of all the various and sundry problems that would most certainly come up. I would like to bring up one problem which I am sure many of you had at the very tip-top of your lists, or at least the top 10, or somewhere on the list. That problem being, quite simply put, she had no name. Now, having no name when you are by yourself, off and alone, is not really an issue. Unless, of course, you want to introduce yourself to all the woodland creatures, great and small. Having no name when you must mingle with people is an entirely different thing. The girl with no name continued to live on her own in the dell at the very edge of the property, which is now called Lorden Farms. She was growing both physically and mentally, and especially in the arts. She was learning something very new, a special thing. Was it even an art at all, or would it be better to call it a craft? It was a connection, a clarity, an understanding of how the world around her actually worked, and how to tap into its rhythm, its lifeblood, its essence. With the burden of awesome power and ability came a tremendous amount of sacrifice. You must give up being a human and clear yourself to become a vessel. You no longer lead, you follow. You don't think, you do. She was finding she must even give up all that she thought herself to be. These were her lessons. Breathe deep until you are no more. Give until you are no more. Hope until you are no more. Pray until you are no more. Once you have given up all that you are and were and ever hope to be, there is only stillness. And in stillness we perceive perfection. For she had found this mysterious and magical knowledge, though it had been hidden for many lives of men, and she knew her path, the right path, the only path that would follow her as all paths should. She creates the paths. They do not exist unless she is trod. I shall stop at this point in the story, as it is quite long and involved. I warned you that it would stretch the boundaries of credibleness, that it was the most fantastical of stories. Perhaps it is too much, and I should not relay crow stories. We shall see next week.